Multiplying decimals. This is 5.4e. The student will solve for products of decimals to the hundredths, including situations involving money, using strategies based on place value, understanding, properties of operations, and the relationship to the multiplication of whole numbers. In 4th grade, students solved by multiplying a 4-digit number by a 1-digit number, or a 2-digit number by a 2-digit number. In 5th grade, we'll be solving for products of decimals to the hundredths place. And in 6th grade, they will be multiplying and dividing all positive rational numbers fluently, including fractions and decimals. The vocabulary is just a review, but you still need to review over what a product is, tenths, hundredths, and thousandths, and it couldn't hurt to review over factors as well. The first problem we're going to look at, and this is me explaining how to figure out where the decimal goes in the problem. So when you're solving a multiplication of decimals problem, we pretend that the decimals are not there. So instead of looking at this problem as 3 and 78 hundredths times 5 and 4 tenths, we're going to look at the problem being represented as 378 times 54. When I solve that problem, you end up with 20,412, but there are no decimals. So now in order to figure out where the decimal place goes, I have to look at my decimal places in my factors. There are 2 decimal places in the first factor and 1 decimal place in the second factor. Altogether, that is 3 decimal places. So in my product, I need to have 3 decimal places. So I'm going to start from the right and count across. 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So my answer would be 20 and 412 thousandths. I want you to look at your neighbor. The partner with the longer hair is going to talk first. I want you to explain how you know where the decimal place or where the decimal goes in your problem or product. The second partner is going to then repeat what you said or change if they disagree. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to do this. You may begin. Alright. If you have a number divisible by 8 on your desk, please stand. Okay, number 24. Can you please explain to me where the decimal place goes in the product? Thank you. You look at how many decimal places there are in your problem or in your factors, and then the total number of decimal places you have is going to be how many decimal places you have in your product. Good job. Alright, another way to check and make sure our answer is reasonable is going to be to estimate. When we are dealing with estimation or rounding, we have a rule. 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, raise the score. So here I see that the 7 tells me to raise the score, so that 3 is going to become a 4. The 4 is going to let the 5 rest, and it's going to stay a 5. When I multiply that together, it gives me 20. So I know that my answer to this problem, or my product, should be about 20. And here, I agree, it's a little bit more than 20, so I know that my answer is reasonable. Alright, so our first problem that we're going to do together, I'm actually going to do as a think aloud. So here I have 94 and 6 tenths times 5 tenths. So I just want you to listen to how I solve the problem before we move on. So 6 times 5 is 30. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 3 is 23. 5 times 9 is 45, plus 2 is 47. So notice I multiplied as if there are no decimals, and now I need to figure out where my decimal goes in my product. There's 1 decimal place in my first factor, and then 1 in my second. So that's going to give me a total of 2 decimal places in my product. I'm going to start on the right and go in. So I know that my answer would be 47 and 30 thousandths. I can see if my answer is reasonable. I know that 5/10 is about half. So I can say about half of 94 is about 47. So I would agree with that. So that's close to 100. Half of that is about 50. So my answer is reasonable. Alright, so for my next few problems, I would actually have the students work them out on their sheet of notebook paper or dry erase board and call students up to the board one at a time to solve each problem. Once they have solved the problem, the student must explain how they know where the decimal goes in complete sentences. And we also check our work with estimation to make sure our answer is reasonable. I would also do a couple of questions with gridables to make sure they know exactly where their decimal goes and how it fits in the gridable. And now I'm going to do a word problem as a think aloud with help from students before we get started on our partner practice. So it says Denise spent $3.45 on snacks every day for 11 days. What is the amount of money Denise spent on these snacks? So I'm going to give you about 20 seconds to reread the problem to yourself so I can call in students to help me figure out what is the important information and how do I solve. So go ahead and reread and think to yourself. Alright, so I need to figure out what is the important information. If you have the number 10 on your desk, raise your hand. Alright, Joshua, can you tell me what is the important information in this problem? Okay, so how much she spent on snacks, so $3.45, and she did that for 11 days. What else? So how much did she spend on these snacks? Thank you. Alright, if you have the number 3 on your desk, raise your hand. Can you tell me how I would solve this problem? Correct, I'm going to have to multiply my 3 and 45 hundredths times 11, because I know this is how much she spends on snacks every day, and she does this for 11 days. So let's go ahead and multiply on your own sheet of paper, and then we'll check our answers together and see if we agree. Alright, if you agree with my answer, if you'll give me a thumbs up, and if you disagree, a thumbs down. I see a lot of thumbs down. Alright, Jeremy, can you tell me why you disagree with my answer? Correct, there's no decimal place. So can you tell me where my decimal place would go, or how many decimal places where my decimal would go, or how many decimal places I'll have in my product? I'm going to have 2. How do you know that? Because there are 2 decimal places in my factors, and there's 2 decimal places that I need to put in my product. Good job, and the answer for that is C. Alright, and we can estimate to check our work. So the 4 would tell my 3 to stay the same. So I know 11 times 3 is 33. And that is very accurate, so I know that my answer is correct. Okay, for number 4, Martin is going to find the product of 845 and 6/10 in 87 hundredths. How many digits will be behind the decimal in his answer? So right now I want you to write out what this problem would look like, or reread it to yourself. Alright, so So on your paper, you should have already written out how you would solve this. I want you to turn to your partner and explain how many decimal places you think there would be in the product, and then if you disagree, you need to come up with a solution. Alright, now that you have your answer, I need you to show me a 1, 2, 3, or 4 for A, B, C, or D. Every single person needs to have a 1, 2, 3, or 4 for A, B, C, or D on using their hands. Alright, so the majority of you told me the answer is A. If you have number 26 on your desk, I need you to stand up. Can you explain to me how you know how many decimal places there will be in your answer or product? Alright, you said that there are 3 decimal places in my problem, so that there's going to be 3 decimal places in my answer. I agree with that, so the answer is A. Good job. Alright, now would be time for partner practice. The students already know how to multiply, so this should be pretty simple, just focusing on where the decimal goes. When they are done, we have a ticket out. It's to solve the following problem on a sticky note and place your answer on your assigned spot on the poster on your way out. So I have a poster that has either their initials on it or the number for their desk, and that is where they would post their post-it note on the way out. And I am mainly focusing on whether or not they know how many decimal places are in their product.